Welcome to 5 questions, 10 minutes of awesomeness. This week, we explore our 5 questions with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who's just released his new book, Personality Isn't Permanent. We highly recommend you check this book out because it is really, really good, maybe even life-changing. Here we go, 5 questions with Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
What brings you joy?
A lot of things. Learning, my family, my relationship with God, talking to you guys. I mean, a lot of things bring me joy.
Aww.
Seriously.
And what are you grateful for?
I mean, I don't want to say everything because that sounds kind of lame, but very grateful for my wife, my kids. I have 2 twin girls who are super fun. That just like always remind me that things are going to be okay and that everything's great.
Jill, I don't know if you read the book, so you know.
Yeah.
Benjamin went from no kids to 5 kids, like,
it's amazing. What do you do when you get stuck?
Journal, pray, talk to key people like Jane in my life, go on walks, exercise, listen to good books. Like I try to really just like get myself moving. A lot of open conversations though, so that I can quickly realize I'm on the other side of it. But, just trying to figure it out and not being afraid of, feeling dumb or looking dumb. But I really just try to fully feel it. And so I go through it pretty quick.
Love that. What surprises you most about where you're at today?
I think what I like about, or I'm most surprised about is, and this kind of actually interestingly is resonant in the first story of the book about, the future being bigger and clear, but also more uncertain.
Yeah.
I think that in the past I was less clear, but more certain. And now I'm more clear and less certain, in a good way. And so I think that, just as an example, like, and I've written to this and talked to this recently, but like I recently reread this book, and like the current Benjamin Hardy would not write this book. Not that I hate it, I actually love it, but I wouldn't write it because I'm not the same guy. And I also just I wouldn't future version of Benjamin Hardy may not totally love this book. I mean, I'm sure I'll like it, but like I'll have a different view. And so I think where I'm kind of surprised at is that that's a more new perspective. That perspective came actually through writing Personality Isn't Permanent. Just the idea of not being so defined by my current self. And so that's just something that I'm now like very comfortable with, and it lends to a lot of learning. And so I think that's something that surprised me because that's just not a viewpoint I had honestly before writing this book.
Yeah. I love that the clarity and the certainty and how that have flipped for you. I have a good friend who had an experience where they were told they needed to terminate their pregnancy at the very 26 weeks in, first child. And this child had almost 0% chance of surviving. And what happened with him is they decided to proceed anyway, and then search for a team who would look at this child as not a statistic, but as that child. Found one. And when they were giving birth, they had to give all of their rights over to the doctors because they literally had to attach this baby to machines that filled up a massive room, to keep him alive. And decisions had to be made like that. So there was 0 certainty in anything that was going to happen. But what he found was his clarity, which was his purpose, which was to give this baby every opportunity to live into his possibility. And that clarity is what helped him through the uncertainty.
Gives you hope,
right?
And meaning.
And that has been so powerful. And you're bringing even more color and light and understanding to that through your book and other things of yours that I've seen. But that's been so powerful for me. And part of what helped when COVID hit, helped like really jump into it, instead of feel overtaken by it, was just getting really clear on how we wanted to show up to it. So
Beautiful.
I love that. I think it's powerful.
We have one last one. And
Yes.
then we'll be free. What do you
I
wish?
love talking to you guys.
What do you wish people knew about creativity or their own creativity? I mean, writing a book is a creative act. Everything you're doing is a creative act. And that's where most people get that resistance.
Yeah, I mean, I view creativity and self-improvement in the same box, you know what I mean? And even spirituality. Like creativity is risky, it's revealing, it's emotional, it's communication. I like the quote, you're either trying to communicate or you're trying to escape, that's a good way of looking at when you're in a social situation is you're either trying to communicate, you're trying to either connect or escape. And I think that creativity is a way of connecting with yourself and with other people. And it's an invitation. And so like I view the creation of the future self as the same thing. I think that, it's risky to try something new. It's risky to do what you want versus be who you've been. And so, courage for me is so big. Courage is like the doorway to change. I don't know. Have you guys studied David Hawkins much?
No.
Yeah, David Hawkins is cool. He wrote a book called Power versus Force.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
crazy stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Dr. David Hawkins. I mean, he wrote a book as well called Letting Go, which so good. But I mean, he's got that whole like scale of consciousness, if you know what I'm talking about. And like courage is always the doorway to growth and change,
Yeah.
And, that's why I view, courage is so big. Courage is where you really do start to evolve and expand as a person. And so, real creativity is courageous, and courage is how you build confidence, and confidence is how you expand your future self and gives you the flexibility to reframe the past. And so I think creativity is essential. Like I think that we all can be creative in some form or fashion, and we can choose what we become creative at. And so I think we are creators. I think we create ourselves, and that we can choose to be very creative in the person we become. That was kind of the premise of the book, honestly, is that we should create our personality versus just accept it. So I love creativity. I mean, I think whether it's creating a project, creating a relationship, creating ourselves, it always requires courage. It requires connecting with yourself and with other people. It requires vulnerability, uncertainty, unpredictability, and all those things lead to extreme growth.
You know what? That's so cool with Hawkins is the idea of your resonance and where your vibration is heading. So if you have all this energy moving towards something that is, whether it's hope driven, or I love that you said trauma shatters hope and eliminates the future. So now all of a sudden you've created this future, and now
you need both of those things to function.
Yeah, it's resonating towards it. So even if you feel like you're in a stagnant place, there's still a vibration that's moving you towards that. And I love that.
I love it. I think hope and purpose are fundamental to functioning in the present. I think it's hard to function in the present without those, but they do then lead to courage, which ups your frequency or whatever you want to say, that resonance. I mean, it's good to be driven and drawn that way.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom from Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
Well, I'm just happy to be with y'all. This is fun.
Thank goodness.
So there you have it. I am so loving this segment and the insights that come through from our guests when we do it. I hope you're enjoying it too. And if you have any question that you wish we'd ask or thoughts and ideas, please share. You can find us at Rocket Trike Studios on Facebook and Instagram, or feel free to email me at info@rockettrike.com. Have an awesomely creative day today, guys. We'll see you soon.